Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan, and I'm excited to hop into today's topics with you guys. We're going to talk about a free agent acquisition that the Cubs had. Can we extend PCA? Is this the right time to do it? And I have a couple more fun Wrigley Field rankings and matchups for you to discuss with you guys as well. So before we get into all that, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, comment down below which player are you excited to see at Wrigley this year? Which team are you excited to see? Let me know below if you've already got your tickets to some of those games. I would love to hear that from you guys. I will give you my ranking here in a moment. But let's start off today's festivities with Colin Rea. The Cubs signed him via free agency this offseason from the Brewers. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, he is slated as it sits right now to be our fifth starter. He, over the past few years, is starting to eat up a lot more innings, but the first 6-7 years of his career have been a little bit rockier with injury, just not enough opportunity for him to pitch. But in the Milwaukee organization, they gave him a chance, and he was very, very solid for them. And I think that's what the Cubs are anticipating here, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you see the 2020 shortened season, not a lot of innings there. 2021, it looks like he only pitched one game. He wasn't doing too well. And then he was out for the 2022 season by being hurt. But ever since he got healthy, 124 innings in 2023 and 167 innings for the 2024 season. So I imagine that the Cubs are going to want to use Colin Rea as that fifth starter, an innings eater, etc., until Javier Assad, Ben Brown, or Jordan Wicks are ready to take over that fifth role on a full-time basis. So Colin Rea is going to start as the fifth starter. If he continues to pitch well, obviously the Cubs won't have a choice in the matter, and he'll have to stay there. But I think they do want to move him more into a long-term bullpen role down the road if he's still doing very solid for the Cubs, and want to see him maybe use 167, 180 innings if possible again this year. So that's my plan for Colin Rea. Again, I'm not the manager of the Cubs, but let me know what you guys think about Colin Rea as well and the free agent acquisition. Again, not the most wowing ERA situation, but it's very tough in Major League Baseball for all 5 of your starters to have a sub-3 ERA. You would just be having an absolutely special season. No doubt about that. So let's talk about some of the best matchups that are going to be happening at Wrigley this year, okay? Lots of great teams coming. I got 2 teams on the list that regularly come to Wrigley every single year, and then I got 2 more teams on that list that do not visit Wrigley all too often. So I'm going to start with the first 2, the ones that always come to Wrigley every year. It's going to be the Dodgers and the Phillies, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all going to be in the same week here in April, okay? So 22nd and 23rd is a Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Those might be some cheaper side tickets, even though it's the Dodgers coming to town. So if you want to take advantage of seeing some of the best players like Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, I would say plan to go to those 2 games at Wrigley. It's 22nd and 23rd at Wrigley Field in late April. It could be cold that night, but the closer it gets to May, ladies and gentlemen, the more likely it's warm, or it could be an absolutely beautiful night for some good baseball, good fun, and I always love to watch how the Cubs stack up against the league's best. And obviously they're the defending champ, so it's literally the league's best. The Phillies come the next day, essentially. The Cubs are going to get an off day on the 24th, and then the weekend series with the Phillies, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Trey Turner, some of the best hitters in baseball, and then, of course, 2 absolute stud pitchers in Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Again, love seeing this test for the Cubs because it's kind of like a mini October vibe, right? You know that these are important games. You know that the stakes are going to be high in October, and these are the type of players you're going to be facing. Back on to mid-June, the Red Sox will be visiting on a weekend series. I teased it in an earlier video about a trade for Rafael Devers if he becomes too unhappy there. So maybe the Cubs are getting a glimpse into the future Cub, Rafael Devers. Potential Cub Alex Bregman will also be there as well. He signed in the offseason, and he will be opting out this year. So I'm curious to see, maybe he really likes the vibe at Wrigley, and he'll want to join the Cubs next year. Garrett Crochet, the trade from the White Sox, absolutely, they got their frontline ace there. And Tristan Cassis, one of the best up-and-coming young first basemen in all of baseball. And then last but not least, I think if I was going to pay some money, ladies and gentlemen, I would go see the Baltimore Orioles, okay? Adley Rutschman, Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, some of my favorite players in all of baseball are on this team. You got Jordan Westburg, Mayo as well. They could just hit from top to bottom. I'm not even putting names like Mountcastle on there. So the Orioles are absolutely going to be, again, record-wise, one of the best teams in all of baseball, and they are going to be coming to Wrigley really this year. August 1st through the 3rd. It's going to be an incredible matchup, I'd say, and I would love to see if the Cubs can fight their way to take 2 out of 3 from them. Next up on our docket, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a potential contract extension, okay? I believe the Cubs have control over PCA until 2031, so they're going to be getting them pretty cheap for then. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if he has a very, very good season, and I'm not even saying like all historic season where he hits 340, hits 35 home runs. I'm talking about a season where PCA kind of progresses to the next level, right? Last year he hit 237. Let's say it's 255, 260. Maybe he hits 20 home runs, right? Maybe he drives in 75 RBIs. He doubles his steals. Something along that nature. And he, of course, brings that gold glove defense with him as well. He's going to be a really, really good player. And in terms of WAR, the Cubs might not have a choice but to sign him to a great deal a la Jackson Chourio or Bobby Witt or Julio Rodriguez. I understand the front side risk of signing a player this young, this unproven to a deal like that, but sometimes you just got to risk it for the biscuit. Even if he does not become the hitter we think he can, I think PCA defensively is already one of the best defenders in all of baseball, so I think it's absolutely worth the sign. I think the Cubs should do that. Next up on the docket, let's talk about rankings at Wrigley Field. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys go to Wrigley, I want to hear your rankings. But if you're a tourist out there, take it with a grain of salt. These are my personal opinions. I've been going to Wrigley my whole life. I go multiple times a year now. But I always go to the number one place pretty much every time I go. But when you see my rankings, you'll see how it goes. So let's start off here for pre-gaming a Cubs game. These are my top 3 places, ladies and gentlemen. If I hear you're going to this place, all good in my book, right? I'm going to start with number 3, Big Star. If you're, a tourist in town, you've never been to Wrigley Field, Big Star absolutely has a fantastic atmosphere. It's right across the street from the park at Wrigley, which is on Clark. You get to see the beautiful little ingrown lawn there. You can hang out there, drink an adult beverage. It's a lot of fun. Big Star has great food as well. They range from tacos, burgers, the whole nine. Love Big Star. Now, the next place on this list, Murphy's. That is the stuff of legends, right? When you think of Wrigley, a lot of people already talked to you about going to Murphy's. It's on the corner of Waveland and Sheffield, right across the street from the Harry Carey statue, right behind center field. Honestly, if you're going to a game for the bleachers, I would go to Murphy's. The food is not necessarily the best food I've ever had, but it's solid. It's very solid. But you go for the ambiance, you go for the vibes. They got the outdoor bar. They got the whole nine there. They always have a great sign for whatever opponent they're playing. I love going to Murphy's just to have a beverage before the game. Now, my number 1 place is Yaxie's, okay? I'm sure that's going to be throwing some people off. I know there's the sports corner and the right field corner for Wrigley, but Yaxie's is my number 1 spot, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot beat the vibes of this place, okay? It's located on the corner of Clark and Waveland. It's right next to the Raising Cane's. If you're a tourist, do not go to Raising Cane's. Just walk next door. The wings at Yaxie's are amazing. They've simplified their menu since COVID, but man, they've had some of the best food I've ever had. They used to have an onion ring brick where it was just basically smashed up onion rings, put into the deep fryer basket, and they smushed it together and fried it that way. To die for. Good beer prices, and the Tang's EQ wings is the best sauced wings I personally have ever had. So if you go to Wrigley regularly, let me know. Go to Yaxie's. Tell me I'm wrong. I want to hear all about it from your point of view on that front. But if you're a tourist and you're coming to Wrigley one time, honestly, I might push you in the direction of going to Murphy's because you don't know when you're going to be back, and sometimes you just got to do the classic Wrigley Field thing, right? You take the train in, you get off the train, you go to Murphy's, you have a beer, then you go into the stadium, and you watch some Cubs baseball. So I want to hear everyone's opinions on this. Where's your favorite place to eat as well? Answer the questions below. Who are you going to see this year, and where are you going to eat before the game? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back with another one tomorrow. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace!